Terrorism jumped back into the spotlight on the campaign trail this week as deadly bombings rocked the Belgian capital of Brussels. More than 30 people were killed in the attacks on Brussels airport and subway system, including 2 Americans from New York. Hundreds more injured. ISIS claimed responsibility. Presidential candidates were all out front in their thoughts on the battle against ISIS. The biggest spotlight was on comments made by Republicans Donald Trump and Texas Senator Ted Cruz, both taking strong stances. Senator Cruz is calling to patrol Muslim neighborhoods here in the U.S. Donald Trump says Brussels would have never happened if torture tactics were used. Meantime, Hillary Clinton says we need to monitor the cyber activity of ISIS militants to fight the war on terror. That's our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you. You can always weigh in on our Fox 26 Facebook page or on Twitter. Joining us in our newsroom is Fox 26 senior legal analyst Chris. We have Democratic media consultant Mustafa Tamiz and Republican strategist and public policy analyst Jackie Bally. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
So what do you think about these strong comments, especially from Ted Cruz? He definitely received the most attention this week for his comments that we should patrol Muslim neighborhoods and fight terrorism that way.
Well, he received the most attention and the most criticism because patrolling Muslim neighborhoods in the United States the criticism was that's not the way to stop terrorism globally, and it just seemed to be the criticism was it seemed to be a way to attack Muslims in the United States without necessarily making us any more safe. Jackie Bally, and what happened in Belgium is horrific and something that we need to globally look at and pay attention to. But in the wake of this presidential campaign, as harsh as this campaign has been, the campaign tactics by both Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, did that seem to help move the war on terror forward?
Actually, I think what Senator Ted Cruz and what Hillary Clinton are saying, there's a lot of similarities there. The senator is saying we need to patrol our neighborhoods more closely. Intelligence reports are showing that we have like 400 or hundreds of ISIS fighters that are in Europe. They don't know where they are, but they know there are some in Europe. And so a lot of people are saying that the police there are overwhelmed because you have millions of refugees and millions of illegal immigrants, or millions of immigrants, I should say, are crossing the line, and they are overwhelmed. So the fact that the senator has said, let's work with our neighbors, let's work within the neighborhoods and patrol the neighbors, there's nothing offensive with that. I saw on Fox News the founder of the American Islamic for Democracy. He said he agrees with the senator. He wants to work with Americans. He said, come into our neighborhoods, and you can see that there's nothing there, and we can work together to get the radicals in line.
And you are working with the Ted Cruz campaign. We don't get that out. What about what Donald Trump said? He keeps harping on we need to torture people. That is not helpful.
Well, look, helpful or not, it's not effective. That's the problem. And when Senator Cruz says that he wants to patrol Muslim neighborhoods, it'd be hard to find those Muslim neighborhoods. I mean, Muslim Americans are about 2.5 million people in a country of 320 million. So there's not necessarily those Muslim neighborhoods that exist in the United States that exist in Belgium and other places. So when you begin to talk about strategies that just don't make any sense, it makes you seem very unpresidential. It makes you lose your credibility. And both Donald Trump and Senator Cruz, for most national security folks, have lost their credibility to be the commander-in-chief.
All right, let's talk about what Hillary Clinton said. What I heard her say was we need to get more effective in shutting down their ability to use the internet to recruit, which I agree with. I think we all agree with that. That is not a global strategy. In other words, that's not going to stop their spread of terrorism. It helps stop their ability to recruit. Right. That's not a complete strategy.
No, it's not, and that's been the biggest complaint about her. A lot of people, like you said, we're all in agreement with what she stated, but that's really not helping where we are right now. Remember, when she was Secretary of State, ISIS flourished under her. So it's easy for her to say as a presidential candidate candidate. Let's go on social media. Let's try to stop the recruitment efforts. But again, she's demonstrating that she has no plan in place, like she didn't have a plan in place when she was Secretary of State, to actually stop the spreading of ISIS.
What about that? Is that a complete plan?
It's a very important part of a plan. I mean, look, candidly, the ISIS-inspired terrorism is what really faces the United States. We don't have the same problems that did you in Europe. You can't get in a car in Damascus, Syria, and drive to Belgium, which you can do, but you can't do that in the United States. Our biggest issue is that we're facing homegrown terrorism that's inspired by ISIS, and by cutting down the recruiting mechanism, it makes us safer. So this is the strategy that we should focus on, not on the things that Donald Trump and not on the things that Ted Cruz is talking about.
Let me go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media.
Hey, this was a hot topic on our Fox 26 Facebook page. We'll go to a few comments from that page now. Patricia says, I'm no Cruz fan at all, but I agree with this. And over here to Wes, he says, conservatives want a smaller government, not a government that spies on law-abiding citizens. And then if we scroll up just a little bit, or down rather, Lynette says, and exactly where are the Muslim neighborhoods, pointing out that it would be difficult to identify specific Muslim neighborhoods because, as we've pointed out, you know, Muslims live all over the place.
Which is precisely what you were saying, Mustafa. And Jackie, I want you to weigh in on that. That's what Mustafa's saying. What that last tweet was, how do you identify a Muslim neighborhood in the United States?
In the United States, it's a little bit more difficult. You do have certain concentrations like you do in my city, in the city of Sugar Land, where the Muslim population is quite large. In Europe, it's a lot easier because they have not been as acclimated, or they're not as acclimated into the community like they are here in the United States. But what the senator has been discussing, and what he talked about in his policy, he looked at ways to try to stop recruitment, like we just discussed over social media. He's also talking about being more actively engaged in the communities. You can go to their mosques. There are lots of places where you have specific areas where Muslims congregate and where they meet, working with those people and trying to get into their neighborhoods to try to figure out what's going on.
But and we're almost out of time, but does increasing patrols around mosque and Muslim neighborhoods, is that the same thing as working with them to increase security?
Look, the FBI works with the Muslim community, so do all different law enforcement. There are 15,000, according to the FBI, there are 15,000 partnership with the Muslim American community. There are 15,000 FBI agents. So to give you a scale, for every FBI agent, there is a partnership within the community. So the community is working hand in hand with the federal authorities, and that's why we are safer than Europe.
All right, we're going to leave it right there.